Hello, I'm Moles, a third year student at university working on a game demo project called Metaleux, and I'm doing the blueprinting. This video I'll be talking about the robot plants and how I have made them work so far. A quick rundown of why there are robot plants. The combat is a two-phase fight that starts off as a stealth system. So the plants power the shield of the enemy, similar to that of a Minecraft Ender Dragon fight, and you must destroy these plants in order to have the advantage on the combat with the enemy. So you can still fight the enemy if you don't have these plants destroyed, but it does give you a big advantage. And there are three types of plant that I will be doing. The first is plant A that deactivates the force field to introduce the player to the idea of a force field protecting the enemy. The next is the shield plants that power the force field. I don't have any effects as I'm doing those at a later date, but I have temporarily put in progress bars so you can see the damage. After that is a stun plant to disable the player movement for a short period of time. So getting straight into it is plant number 1, the door force field. Since the door is being substituted for FX, it's extremely basic timeline that moves the door up as it will be replaced. Within the plant blueprint, I have created a blueprint interface for you to interact with the plants. If you do, it creates the noise that the AI enemy can pick up and investigate. So once the door opens, the enemy is heading that way. Here's an example of this working. Just imagine some really cool effects instead of an opening door. And so plant 2 is a shield plant. In the enemy blueprint, I've set up a shield bar temporarily so you can see the progress of the damage the plants are taking. This will also be visual effects, so sorry about that. The damage is a custom event. If it is called upon, the shield will take damage as long as you aren't at zero shield. And at the end of this shield fight, there is a cutscene where the player takes a chunk of the enemy's health. So I've made it so you can take away health from the shield. So if the shield reaches 0, their health also gets taken away too. And I'm using the any damage node, so the shield damage gets called upon, as I have a separate health system that doesn't require using it. So when I want shield damage to be taken, all I have to do is call that event, like I do in the blueprint of plant noise. I'll show here. To interact with the plant, I use the enhanced input actions where I plug in an IA action, Night Attack is the one I'm using, into the IMC default and call it in the player blueprint. And then I create a function to check whether the plant is in range of the attack. So if the line trace can detect if the plant is there, which then creates a noise if you hit the plant that the AI perception picks up on of the enemy, and the enemy investigates and takes damage in the shield. And plant number 3 is stun plants. These plants are a timer-based stun plant. I created a temporary flashing material to show in dev testing when it's safe to pass. But this was difficult to coordinate, so I used 2 separate colours in the end for testing by setting the parameters, setting the material as different materials. And since it's all temporary, I'm not worried about the frame rate dropping at all. And using collisions and triggers, I could tell if the player was in the circle of the box of the plants. If the player was in the circle whilst the red light is active, then it disables the player input, so you can't move the control, and I'll be playing a montage here, but the animation currently isn't done for that one, so I've just put a comment on it saying I will do it. And I used this disable and enable input twice because in the beginning, it's detecting the beginning of the overlap. So if you're in the sun plant, the red activates, it doesn't do anything. So then I also did it every time the pulse started inside the plant. So once you walk through it, you can get disabled, and if you're in there, you can get disabled input. So that solved the bug I struggled with. And those are all of the plant systems. They're all very simple, but they all work, and it all helps develop understandings of systems, like interfaces, more strongly. So, thank you.